Hello, welcome back to Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. Hope you're having a great week so far, getting a lot of sales, purchasing everything you want. I've actually had a pretty good month for sales. I've definitely focused more on TCG, but even my sports cards did pretty good this month, so let's, cheer on that fact. Anyway, today I want to talk about something that popped up, and it's just going to lead you down a rabbit hole that you will never get an answer on. And there's a lot of suspicious things about this rabbit hole that you really wonder about, once you start to go through the cycle of connecting the dots. I was on my computer for, about an hour and a half going down this rabbit hole. I never really did get a legitimate answer, but I just want to share where this all started. All right. Anyway, first off, it starts with the Paul Skenes, 2024 Topps Paul Skenes MLB debut 1/1 patch card that everyone is chasing. And we know the story about an 11-year-old who pulled it on Christmas Day. And everyone is like so happy that this is a collector that pulled it. This is a family who pulled it, not a breaker. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought it was a little, suspicious that a child would pull it, I mean, if you do the odds, like he just got one box and pulled it, okay? That seems suspicious to me. I mean, when you start to run the numbers through, I always figured that it would more than likely go to a breaker affiliated with the Fanatics Live platform. When you start to go through, odds, let's be honest here, of, who's ripping open, the most boxes for this product. And you definitely have to look at those, breakers tied in with Fanatics Live. All right. And that was my initial thought, of who is going to get it. Because all the best of the best, regardless, tends to always go with these big breakers on Fanatics Live. And so that was my first thought. All right. So then we get the news, time in January that it was pulled on Christmas. And people found out that, they weren't happy that Topps held on to the information, didn't release it right away. So people would obviously keep buying the product and ripping it open. All right. So that's kind of a suspicious issue as well. Okay. So then I run across this post, and this post, it doesn't really seem like anything major when you first see it. And, I suppose, that it could very well be a mistake brought to us by Google, brought to us by Facebook. But it's just a simple thing. And I'm not going to say this guy right here. As far as I know, they took this guy's name from a comment. Okay, because this guy commented. But then it has this. Guaranteed his parents did not buy it at the store. His dad is a breaker, so he definitely already had the box set aside for his kid. Wait. And then you can go ahead and click this. And I've read this letter before about the kid who, found the card. And he writes this letter, and when you read it, I'll be honest, it doesn't necessarily read like an 11-year-old would write it. And I thought that was a little suspicious. Now, I could be wrong. So anyway, this is the guy. For one reason, they put his name at the top of the list here. But he said, thank God this wasn't pulled on a break. Cool story. So for one reason, the Facebook thing ties this guy's name into what I just said. And clearly that's not it, you know. I even checked out this guy's Facebook to see if he wrote this down anywhere, you know, that he knows that the parent of this child is a breaker. Okay. So you can keep, you know, cycling down the comments in this Facebook. And, like, here's one. Everyone. Breakers get all the biggest and best pulls. Tops. Nuh-uh. Check out this totally real diary entry from this 11-year-old kid who pulled the Skenes 1 of 1. And it's just like, well, it's all so convenient that supposedly it was pulled by a kid, so they don't have to release any family information, names, anything. Okay, so that's really a red flag, you know, to an extent. Here's another comment. Something doesn't seem right about this whole story. Yeah, there's just something not right about it. And like said here, here's another comment. Kid pulled at Christmas. Had it been known the prices and demand would have dropped quicker. Maybe now I can find some closer retail and finish my set. Here's one. And this really comes out. Spells like a 40-year-old and writes like a 5-year-old. Future doctor right here. You know, it's just something so suspicious about that letter, isn't it? The next page was even better. Dad says, and this is another comment. Dad says that the real dream coming true was his new Corvette he's getting because he's forcing me to sell the card. He got me a blaster box of archives to make up for it, and I pulled the cursed mead of $4.99 worth 72 cents out of it. Cool. And this is really, I thought was really weird too. I mean, if you've known anyone who's had diaries, I've had numerous girlfriends with diaries. I've known friends who used to have diaries. They used to do that like in the 80s and 90s. Who does that these days? Anyway, he writes, I am 11 years old in his diary. I thought that was so weird too. Who does that? Okay. So let's get back to this letter a little bit. It was November 13th, 2024, and Topps had released 2024 Chrome Update. It was $200, which was a lot, but considering the players and rookies, it was fair. That doesn't sound like an 11-year-old. I started begging my mom for it for Christmas. Dad was at work, and my mom was leaving soon. Me and my mom left for school, and I knew people would raise the prices, so I went into full beg mode. Full beg mode. I've never even heard an 11-year-old talk like that. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, or I shouldn't say ex-girlfriend, my girlfriend who passed away, she had kids. They would never write anything like this. They were about the same age. My mom said she'd get it. Victory. But her work was so busy, she forgot to get it. When my parents got home, I was super sad, but they said the prices would drop to Black Friday. Who says that? I'm just saying that. Fast forward to Black Friday. The prices did not drop. Infinite rage? 1 sec. So now the box was like $350. They said I would have to get something else. I said, okay, but they could tell I was sad. Very, very sad. When I was at school, they found a hobby box for $320, which is still a ton. But since they are awesome, they got the box. They told me when I got home from school, and I was so something, fast forward to Christmas. Okay, who says fast forward to Christmas? Anyway, first I woke up at like 4 a.m. and wake my brother. Whoops. He waited till 6:30, and we woke up our parents. Okay. The present we opened was the hobby box. The first present we opened was a hobby box. And my brother got a big logo. Okay, I opened a, let's see, what does this say? My brother got a big Lego. Okay, I opened 3 packs and got some cool cards. Then we passed around some more presents. I opened 2 more packs, and on the second pack, I got the Paul Skenes redemption card. I quote, "Hey, Dad," who says that? I quote? That just doesn't sound like an 11-year-old. I mean, that's just it. I quote, "Hey, Dad, I pulled." Me, my brother, and my dad were like, OMG. My mom was very excited, but she never collected cards, so she didn't know what it meant. Then my brain pooped, and I started bouncing all over the place. And my dad was, "Let's go." I was so excited. But first we went to one of our grandparents' house and hung out with them and our uncles and aunties. I'm 11 years old. Who says that? So pulling this card is a dream come true. And that's just, it doesn't sound like a 40-year-old writing, he's probably a righty, so he used his left hand, That's very possible. I cannot prove any of this. That this is all just, conjecture. I'm just reading, there are just some things that were brought up, in the replies. So, like that one reply, it kind of seems like a 40-year-old, writing as an 11-year-old. It really kind of does, doesn't it? Now, why would this pull up? I went through the comments. I never saw this comment. Guaranteed his parents did not buy it at the store. His dad's a breaker, so he definitely already had the box aside. So, why did this pull up? That's just it, Let's go through these comments again. Maybe I missed that comment. And this is something interesting too. Laugh out loud journal entry. Come on. So pretty much Topps asked the parents to have him write what happened. Clearly he's talking about in past tense. So it was just written. Explain the poll. Parents drafted a nice story and had him rewrite it. Odd. At the same time the journal entry posted was announced, auctioned on Fanatics. Hell of a PR stunt. Nothing surprises me anymore. Although I do hope the card brings in millions to whomever. So I'm still looking for that. Back to that, he writes, I'm 11 years old in his diary. That is just so weird. It was $200, which is a lot, but considering the rookies and players, it was fair. Said no 11-year-old ever. Yeah, no kid. I mean, that is just it about the letter. Here's one. Sounds fake as hell. I'm 11 years old, so pulling this card is a dream come true for me. Kid had to reiterate that he's 11, huh? Also, it's being auctioned at Fanatics, not Golden. Fanatics probably had the card the whole time. Here's one. Mickey Pearson, complete BS. Pulls the card on Christmas. Nobody under the sun hears about it for a month. Absolutely not a true story. No 11-year-old writes infinite rage in their diary. And no 11-year-old writes in anything nowadays. This is beyond fake and super cringe. Yeah, that's just it. Who does this? I mean, they were doing this in the 80s and 90s. Anyone with an 11-year-old, did you notice not one misspelled word? Yeah, I noticed that too. Better punctuation than most adults. Legible handwriting. No pic of a kid and his dad holding the card. Something about this stinks, yes. Is it because this is tied to a breaker on Fanatics? Yes, I think it's a very possible, reality. Here's another one. That story is a fantastic work of fiction. At that price, they would have bought it or not bought it. Giving credit to the kid is a heartwarming story if the kid did write it. He was told what to write. A lot of disposable income to drop over $300 on a box of cards. They must have thousands of cards lying around. perfectly organized, of course, from previous $300 boxes of cards the kid just had to have. Maybe I'm wrong. And this 300 plus box of cards was the kid's first ever box. A miracle and heartwarming story all in one. I'm going to wait for the movie to come out and get all the facts. Only believable part is turning down the offer because the card apparently is worth much more than that. This is getting really cringe really fast. Yeah, an 11-year-old wrote this, but who told him to write hashtag fake news? Yes. I believe, and I can't prove it, but is there a possibility of fraud going on here? So I'm still looking for that comment about the kid's dad, being a breaker. I still don't see it. So when you get in the comments, it's not just me noticing it, even when you read it, the first time I read it, I was like, this just doesn't read like anything I would have read from like my former girlfriend who passed away. I read some of this stuff. I mean, I even have cards here that they wrote to me, with stuff in it. They would never, and they're like at the same age. They would never write anything like that. I think it's an adult right-hand writer who used his left hand to write this. I can't prove that. I cannot prove that. And did they accidentally give it away here? Guaranteed his parents did not buy it at the store. His dad is a breaker, so he definitely already had the box set aside for his kid. And is that a comment that I just missed? It has to be. Why else would that just pull up here? Because it just opens up such a rabbit hole. All right. So then we come to this. And this is just a simple, thing on X. And right here. And this comes from Clicked. This is from March 24th. Was the purchase of the Paul Skenes rookie debut patch autograph card a savvy move by Dix or a bad omen for collectors? At Darren Rovell has his thoughts on the move. Fans reason Fanatics got one of their biggest customers. Now think about that. To buy the card to increase the value of what they are doing at Topps. And he puts garbage. Yes. So they kind of, I don't know. I just think that once again, it's not a good look. It just isn't. Overall, this whole sale, the poll, everything is sus, as they like to say these days. And then we get to this MLB story. And really, the story, it almost seems like a mythological story, from ancient Greece, doesn't it? It's too good to be true, man. So we went over the suspicious letter. Yeah. So when Christmas morning came, the young card collector made a beeline for that one item on the train, began ripping packs. Yes. Okay. Quick point over, the boy didn't pull the actual card, but a redemption card to be sent off to Topps, yes. But the boy knew what he had, however. And despite the hoopla surrounding the Skenes card, it wasn't the boy's motivation for wanting the box. It wasn't even on my mind that I would pull it, he told The Athletic. I thought it would go to some big breaker. So I'm like, Dad, I pulled the Paul Skenes. He was like, no, you didn't. Naturally, Dad was skeptical. So then I put it under the light, and it was like, oh my God, I think this is real, he told The Athletic. And I was immediately just kind of stupefied. And then that went into excitement, and then I was just kind of slack-jawed. Once the father realized the enormity of the situation and the attention that would befall the family if the major news became public, he shifted into responsible parent mode. He reached out to a few auction houses while trying to protect the family's anonymity, keeping the family's name out of the news. He reached out to a few auction houses. Who does that? The father? This father clearly knows about sports cards right there. I mean, think about it. I mean, if it was my dad, he wouldn't even know about auction houses. Seriously. A lot of these other people, honestly, that I know in my local community, friends, whatever, they don't really know about this stuff. So why would his dad know about auction houses? Is it because his dad's a breaker? Anyway. Not to mention, keeping his young son from becoming a minor celebrity was not just about avoiding publicity. Why keep your son from being a minor celebrity? What's so bad about that? It's just a sports card. Why is that such a bad thing? Think about it. My parents would be like, yeah. I would have been like, hell yeah, everybody's going to know me. Think about this. It's been a really hard time in the community, the boy's mother told The Athletic. It's not time to be walking around saying, I got the golden ticket. I don't know. The family sent the redemption card off a little after Christmas. About 3 weeks later, Topps announced that an 11-year-old had pulled the coveted card. Throughout the whole process, the family maintained its anonymity. Fanatics Collect, and this is really the smoking gun here. Why would they go with Fanatics Collect unless, like it says, the son, the kid who supposedly pulled this card, his dad's a breaker? Think about it. One of the auction houses the father contacted will put the card, which received a grade of 10 from PSA, up for auction in March. As for the Pirates' offer for 30 years of season tickets in exchange for the card, the family decided to pass on that, given the geographic obstacle of living in Los Angeles. Yeah, I understand that. But here's this. Not even Mike Mahan, CEO of Fanatics Collectibles, knows the boy's identity. In this case, he understandably had the highest profile card of the year. Arguably the century, Mahan told The Athletic. You had a father of an 11-year-old son who wanted to remain private, and we wanted to work that out with the father in a way that he felt comfortable with. And then Dix buys it. Gotcha. All right. So, overall, is this a legitimate card? Think about it. From the letter, the rabbit hole, I searched people's names on Facebook, whatever, to see if they, dropped some information about this card, if they had information on it. And I couldn't really find anything. The biggest telling point is what pops up on a Google search. And I read it. Why is that saying that the father is a breaker? That's just it. And when you begin to connect all the dots, the auction houses, Fanatics Collect, the suspicious letter, which everyone reads and goes, man, that is as suspicious as can be, you begin to really wonder, what happened here? Was this all just a PR event created by Fanatics? That's just it. Because it's so convenient, to have an underage individual pull the card, because legally, it's so hard to get information. You can't even dig into who the kid is legally for the most part. So right there, it's very convenient. It's very convenient that the probability and possibility of this kid's father being a breaker likely tied with Fanatics Live. Yes. So is it very possible that for one reason Fanatics didn't want this getting out and would rather go with this kind of shilled story, when in actuality, guess what? Guess who pulled it? Someone linked with Fanatics Live who's a breaker. And maybe they're not a breaker linked with Fanatics Live. Maybe, maybe they're one of these other backyard breaks. Who knows? Maybe, I guess that's a possibility as well. Maybe it's a big breaker and whatnot. But then you add in the Fanatics Collect, Why would they go with Fanatics Collect over... If I had that card, I would have gone straight to Golden, Just a better deal. I mean, and that's just it. If the father's contacting auction houses, why didn't he go with Golden? That's just it. And then why is the father contacting auction houses? Once again. So it's not like just some innocent kid just woke up and went, Daddy, Mommy, I want a baseball card. Well, guess what? Daddy knows a lot about baseball cards. Daddy knows a lot about auction houses. And it's all been swept under the rug very conveniently. And all these people out there ripping all of these boxes like it's the Willy Wonka golden ticket, and not finding the biggest card that Fanatics put out there, Topps Fanatics. It just, once again, it's all very sus, as they like to, use the word today. So, what happened here? I don't know if we're ever going to know. That's just it. And I'm not sure what it would take to find out the truth. If someone would have to hire a private investigator to really start to connect the dots on this. But it'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, I don't know if you have any other different opinions on this subject. Leave some comments. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you to all my recent subscribers and my subscriber base in general. If you're a viewer, if you could subscribe, just hit that button. It would help me out so much. Anyway, I'm out of here. Bye.